I have really weird dreams. And sometimes when I was streaming games for my friends, I would tell people about my weird dreams. And last night, I had a super weird dream. And one of my friends who would watch my old streams, he was really amused whenever I would talk about the weird dreams that I would have. So after I had this weird dream, I thought to myself, oh, dude, that guy would really appreciate it if I told him that dream, if I told him about this weird dream that I had. So right now, I'm going to recite, like, I don't really have that much time to, like, just, hey, I'm going to tell you about a dream I had. So I have to do it right now, basically, is the only time when I have free time. Because tomorrow I'll just be busy working on Yandere Simulator from the moment I get out of bed till, like, 12 midnight when my stream starts. Even today, my stream started like 40 minutes late because I was working on Yandere Simulator stuff. So it'll just be packed wall-to-wall Yandere Sim responsibilities. So if I'm going to recite my dream, I have to do it now because this is the only time I have free time. So I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell my dream. This is basically just so that there's a recording of it so that my friend can hear it. Oh, thank you, Dr. Riku, for the 44-viewer host. Hope it's not too disappointing, but I actually am just about to end the stream. But right before I end the stream, I'm going to tell a story. It's a dream that I just had last night. So this is going to be weird. You might think this story is stupid. I'm basically just telling this story just for the sake of this one guy who really likes hearing about my dreams. This isn't necessarily going to make sense. This isn't necessarily going to be funny. This is just going to be a dream that I had, and I want to express this story to at least one guy. All right. So, in this dream, it's kind of like I was jumping into a story at the halfway point. I had just committed some sort of crime. I have no clue what crime. With the help of this guy. It was a really old guy. Like this elderly, not an elderly man. I would say he was in his 50s. I'm just going to call him the old guy because he didn't have a name. Now, during this crime that we had committed together, I did everything perfectly. I didn't leave behind any evidence. There was nothing that connected me to the crime, whatever it was. But the old guy was like sloppy and left behind some evidence that linked him to the crime. And if he gets arrested, then the cops will figure out that I'm connected to him, and then both of us go to jail. So the old guy and me are standing in my house. It's nighttime, and we're trying to figure out a solution to this dilemma we're in. Then he comes up with an idea. He says he's going to commit suicide so that I can't be connected to the crime if he's caught. And before I can say anything, he takes out a bottle of pills, and he eats all of them, and immediately just starts dying from an overdose. This is already taken a super dark turn. My dreams are fucked up. Like the shit I do and say when I'm awake is fucked up. The shit I do and think when I'm asleep is even more fucked up. So, I'm grateful to this guy for his noble sacrifice, right? And I want to express my gratitude to him, so I decide to stay beside him and keep him company until he is dead. But the problem is, he takes a really, really long time to die. So we're both just sitting there having a really awkward conversation while we're waiting for him to die. So the plan is, after he dies, I'll call 911 and I'll tell the cops that a stranger came into my house and overdosed on pills, and I didn't find his corpse until the next morning. As long as I pretend that I never knew him and I found him after he died, then I won't be considered responsible for his death, and I can't be connected to any crimes he committed. But then there's a complication. My parents unexpectedly show up at my house and start doing chores and cleaning and stuff. And I'm panicking, because if they go too far into the house and they find the dying guy, they'll want to call 911. So I have to distract my parents so they don't notice the dying guy until after he's dead. But then it gets weirder. This is where it goes off the rails. The dying, like before, up until this point, this is something that maybe could have happened in real life. From this point forward, it's totally complete non sequitur dream territory. So the dying guy says he would die faster if it was raining, because he dislikes rain. So I leave my house in search of a way to make it rain. And as soon as I leave my house, the dream changes and everything looks like a video game. It looks like one of those old 3D platformers on the Nintendo 64, like Banjo-Kazooie. And right in front, I think this was influenced by me looking at ukulele, maybe. Anyway, so right in front of my house, there's this really tall tower. And at the top of the tower is a magical artifact that can grant me the power to make it rain anytime I choose. How do I know that? I don't know. I just know it because it's a dream. And so now I got to climb to the top of that tower. And suddenly I have the climbing mechanics from Breath of the Wild. So I just start climbing the tower just like I was Link from Breath of the Wild. And this is the part where it gets really fucking hard to follow. So suddenly these two people show up. And they look like exaggerated caricatures of stereotypical cartoon villains. Like one of them is a muscular man wearing all black with a twirly mustache, and the other one's a sexy lady dressed like a dominatrix with a spiked whip. Actually, like only a few of the people in the stream are even going to know what I'm talking about, but they looked like the bad guys from Yatterman. I mentioned Yatterman like a few days ago on the stream. It's this anime from the 70s. I don't expect any of you to know what the hell I'm talking about. Anyway, apparently there was some sort of history between me and these two weird people who showed up, because they were talking to me like I'm their arch nemesis, and they were demanding like an epic final showdown or something. But I have no interest in them because I really don't want my dream to have any subplots. I just want to make it rain and make the dying guy die and just finish that plot arc of my dream. So I climb to the top of the tower, even though these two villains are trying to thwart me by like shooting at me with cannons or something. And I get to the top of the tower, and I get the magical artifact, and then it starts raining as soon as I touch it. So I just go back to my house. When I get back to my house, the two villains, I'm just going to call them the two villains because I don't know who the hell they were. They just look like villains, so that's who they were. The two villains are standing there waiting for me at my house, and they're demanding to have the final showdown right there. And I say something like, instead of that, let's have a party. And then instantly there's just a party going on. Just a bunch of people are now partying. A bunch of people show up. And it's a party, and everyone's party. It just happened. But everybody at the party is an internet meme. Like, Rick Astley is there, singing, "Never Gonna Give You Up." And like that fucking frog on the unicycle, Dat Boy, is there. And that cat with the ugly face, Grumpy Cat, is there. And it's just a bunch of internet memes attending a party at my house that just happened because I said it. And there were also a bunch of really old internet memes, like that Me Gusta face and the troll face and the Forever Alone face. And there was this weird thing going on where all like the new memes were like shunning the old memes. But I'm just like, whatever, dude, I need to get back to the dying guy. So I rush past all of that weird stuff, and I just get back to the dying guy to see if he's dead yet. When I find him, he's dressed completely differently. Another thing to mention is that like the art style of my whole dream changed. Like it started looking like a Pixar or DreamWorks film. But that's not even relevant to the story, if you can even call this fucking train wreck a story. So I find the guy who's dying from the overdose, but he's dressed completely differently. He looks like a homeless Vietnam veteran guy. I don't even know if my mental image of that is the same as yours. But that's not even what he looked like before. But anyway, he's almost dead. But now there's a bunch of people in the room with him partying in the same room where he's dying as he lay dying a few feet away from them. Because apparently, like, there's so many people at this party, and the party is so big, every single room in the house needs to be used, even a room that has a dying person in it. So they're just there partying like nothing's wrong. And one of the people who's in the room with the dying guy looks like Ann Tamaki from Persona 5. I don't think it was her. Maybe it was her. I don't know. It just looked like her, okay? It just looked almost identical to Ann Tamaki. I'm just going to call her Ann from now on. Oh, Jesus Christ, I need to take a breath. Ugh. All right, so I leave the room, and I go back and I check on the party just to make sure that those two villains aren't causing trouble. And then I go back to the room with the dying guy, and I find him there on the ground, and Ann Tamaki is sitting on top of him like she's in like the cowgirl sex position, just riding him, straddling him. And he's not moving. And I walk up and I say, "Is he dead?" And then Anne says, "Yes, He is dead, but before he died, he gave me his seed, and now his child is growing inside of me, and his son will grow up to be a strong soldier like his father. And I'm like, wow, what? Did you really just start having sex with this dying guy? And then Anne says, no, I didn't really. I just decided to say that because I saw those words written right there. And I look over, and there's this guy with his back to us, and on the back of his t-shirt is every word she just said. Yes, he is dead, but before he died, he gave me a seed, and now his child is growing inside of me, and his son will grow up to be a strong soldier like his father. Like, those words are just written on the back of a guy's shirt. So she just decided to read it. Like, it's just those exact words are just written there. So I say, oh, so you didn't actually have sex with him then? And she says, oh yeah, I did have sex with him. And she stands up, and now I can see that his pants are down, and his underwear are down, and her underwear is down. And it's clear that they obviously just had sex. And she says, he's gonna be a daddy. And then suddenly the dead guy jumps up and says, I'm gonna be a daddy, but I'm too old to be a daddy. And then he runs down the hallway, screaming at the top of his lungs, with his pants and his underwear down around his ankles. And then, this is why, like, people always ask me about my dreams. And then everything fades to black, and I see credits begin to roll, like this is the end of a movie. And then the camera pans back, and I see myself, and I'm sitting on a couch staring at a TV. Like everything that just happened was a movie I was watching. And there's a person on the couch with me, and they say, wow, that was a pretty good movie. And I say, no, it wasn't. That movie was shit. I didn't, and I didn't understand the ending of the movie. So I rewind it and I watch the ending again, starting at the point where Anne was sitting on top of this guy. And like the whole dream just plays out again from that point forward, because I'm literally rewinding and watching it again. So after the credits start rolling a second time, I look in front of me, because I'm sitting on a couch watching a TV, right? But there's a box in front of me. It's a box of DVDs. And each of the DVDs is the film that I just watched. And I'm confused, because I don't know, like, why did I order an entire box of DVDs of this film? Is this an accident? Did Amazon ship it to me on accident? What did I do? And so I noticed that one of the DVD cases is different. And I pick it up and I inspect it, and it's not a DVD case. It's actually a case for a Nintendo Switch game. And it's like they made a game of the movie that I just watched. You know how sometimes a movie has like a game adaptation? They made a game of the film I just watched in my dream. And I'm like, what? So now I want to know like what the game plays like. So I take the game and I start walking to my room that has my Nintendo Switch in it. So I'm walking through my house. And as I pass through one of the rooms in my house, I see the dying guy from the movie. He's just sitting there in a chair, slumped over, dying of an overdose. And he looks at me and he's like, yo, what's up, bro? Sorry it's taken me so long to die. And then my alarm clock goes off and my dream ends. That's when I woke up. I have really weird dreams. I have bizarre dreams. I could tell you a bunch of other ones, too, that are just as weird. No, actually, I might have to say that one's the weirdest one I've ever had. That's the weirdest dream I've ever had. But there's other dreams, too, that have been pretty, they've been pretty up there. God, that was... that was such a weird experience. I knew that I had to tell that story because I know that my friend is going to get a kick out of it because he likes to hear about my dreams. Make it into a game after Yandere Sim is done. All right, I just spent 16 minutes telling you about a dream I had, which is pretty... I didn't expect it to go on for 16 minutes, but I guess it was just that freaking long. That was a weird dream.